And welcome back. Well, our next guest was born and raised in Milwaukee. She went to school in South Milwaukee, which is home to supposedly haunted trail called Seven Bridges in Grant Park.
How about that?
Trail.
She spent a lot of time there as a kid. So when a call went out for paranormal stories, she says she had to write about it. Silvia Acevedo is a journalist. In fact, she used to work here at TMJ4. She's also an author and contributed on this new book. It's called The Haunted States of America. It's a spooky collection of short stories for middle schoolers. And Silvia joins us now with details on the chill-inducing stories that you're going to find in this book. It's always great
to
see you.
Welcome
back.
Thanks. It's great to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Feels like old home week.
I know.
Coming into the building, I bet.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in the building, but it's fun.
So you've written 4 books before on different topics than this, right?
Right. The other ones were about Greek and Roman mythology, and this is a spooky story. So we're still in the speculative realm, speculative fiction, which seems to be my jam.
I like it. Yeah. Okay, so this is a collection of 52 different authors, right? And all these stories. So you represent Wisconsin.
Yeah, and I'm super proud to represent Wisconsin.
You should be.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the background of this little haunted area and your experience with it.
Okay, well, I went to school in South Milwaukee, go Rockets, and so I spent a lot of time at the Seven Bridges. I loved being out in nature, and I still do, and spent tons of time there. But of course, when you're there, you hear about all of the stories about how people would, especially nighttime visitors, would go and they'd hear moans and screams under the ravine.
This gives me chills already.
Yeah, there's an opening ravine where there's a trailhead, and the trailhead reads, "Enter this wild wood and view the haunts of nature." So that kind of sets the expectation. You can see some of the pictures here of the trail area. So if you go at night, you might hear these noises, and you might see twinkle lights. You know, some people would say they're lightning bugs, but who's to say? And then there's mist, and then there's shifting shadows from the wind rattling through leaves, and so it kind of sets a whole mood there. And if you love that sort of thing, and I love that sort of thing, I would spend some time there.
That's so cute. Are there 7 bridges?
There are 10.
In the park? Oh, there are 10. They need to rename it, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay, I got to hear the story of the wailing woman. What's up with her? Okay,
so one of the stories is that if you see an apparition as you're following these lights, you might see an apparition of a woman in white, and whose gown is flowing, whether there's wind or not. And she supposedly is crying, wailing for her children that drowned in the lake. And we know there are plenty of tragic deaths around waterways around the world, so it's not far-fetched that these stories travel. And in the Spanish-speaking world, there is a myth of a wailing woman called La Llorona, which means the wailing woman. And she tries to draw other children toward her. And so when I heard about this woman in white at the Seven Bridges, and well, I knew the story of La Llorona, so it made sense to me that they were one and the same.
Did you worry she was going to snatch you?
I never got to see her, darn it. But there's people say they see things out there. There's a lot of movement out there, a lot of people out there. Who knows? People are pranksters.
Yeah. So I think something that's cool, because this is for middle schoolers. Yeah. So it's not too scary, but it's got to be scary enough. And do you feel like, because this is kind of a cool idea in general for teachers and things, that there's geography included in these stories.
I love that.
And kids have such short attention spans these days that I would imagine short stories are something that's a bit easier to digest for middle schoolers than a longer novel.
I think so too. I mean, look, if you're a reader, you love both, right? You love both formats. But it is awfully nice to sit around a summer campfire. You don't have to wait till Halloween. You can sit at a summer campfire and read one of these short stories. You can read it right before bed. It's a little chill-inducing, but it's not too scary.
Have the little flashlight and the blankets over your head, right?
Do that, right?
Well, and I always think young adult novels. Many adults love reading YA work, and I'm just curious about this. You've done some things in mythology, myth and magic, and now this sort of, you mentioned speculative fiction. What is it about it that intrigues you? Like, why this genre in particular?
I used to love mythology.
Yeah. I think magical stories. Look. I think kids can very easily imagine a magical world outside of the mundane world that they experience every day. And I think time goes slower for kids. it's a longer day, and so they like to imagine other things. And if you read speculative fiction, you eventually, at least from all the stories I've read, you've learned that magic is a tool that people use to try to fix their problems, but it doesn't really, it's a tool like any other. It doesn't really solve their problems. So you learn a lot about human nature through magic, and it's just a fun way to learn things.
Have you read all the other stories?
I have, and they're wonderful.
Is there any other one that you were like, ooh, I need to visit that state just to see that spot?
Yeah, there's one from Louisiana where I thought was wonderful. It talks about, oh, I don't want to spoil it, but there's moss, and it talks about the swamp area, and it really sets a fantastic mood that ooh, you know, anything could happen out there. It's great.
Are all the places real? Do you know, like location-wise, geography-wise?
The myths, yes. The myths are real about, yeah. So you could go visit them all.
See, that's what I think is so cool. This could be like a tour book.
Yeah. I was going to say a vacation
I hope
guide.
teachers love it. I hope that they use it, you know, especially for those students that they recognize, you know, might not want to read a longer novel. And, you know, they can just say, okay, well, we're going to do a little unit on Maine. Let's read that story.
I love it. And to collaborate with authors from all over the country is such a cool thing that you've done, Sylvia. It's always great.
I love this book.
Yeah,
Thank you
I'm
for
excited
being here.
about it.
Good to see you.
Just out today, which is exciting. And I want to make sure that people know that The Haunted States of America comes out today. Milwaukee's own Silvia Acevedo is one of the contributing authors, and there will be signed copies at Books and Company in Economwalk and Boswell Books in Milwaukee. And it's a ways away, but she's also going to be at Boswell on October 19th.
Mark it down now.
For the Downer Avenue Haunted Halloween celebration. I know you love Halloween too.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Good
Always
to
a
see
blast
you.
seeing you.
Thanks.
Thank you.